A very good morning to my dear students of class 8. Today we will talk about the rest portion of chapter 10 and we will start our class by discussing military causes of the Great Revolt of 1857. Native sepoys and soldiers also had long-standing grievances against the British, and they too expressed their bitterness around this time. The British established their empire in India by the help of the sepoys, of course, but the sepoys were neither appreciated nor rewarded for their efforts. The Indian soldiers often had to travel far to fight in the battles. They demanded high wages, which was turned down. The discrimination between the Indian soldiers and British soldiers caused a lot of resentment among Indians. Indian soldiers were paid much less salary than the British soldiers. In spite of being capable and dedicated, Indian sepoys could not get the position the British used to get. The British soldiers used to get much more privileges than the Indian soldiers. So these were some of the discriminatory policies which caused a lot of resentment among Indians. In those days, the Hindus believed that overseas travel would lead to a loss of caste. And according to an act in 1856, all new recruited Indians were forced to cross seas and fight in Burma. The Hindu sepoys thought that it was another attack on their caste and religion. So it caused widespread discontent among Indians. Then after the annexation of Awadh, the Nawab's army was totally disbanded. The soldiers were jobless. They lost their means of livelihood and their bitterness against the British increased. Now come to our next point, immediate cause of the revolt of 1857. The British had introduced a new rifle known as the Enfield rifle in the army. Cartridges of these rifles had to be beaten off by teeth and then loaded. These cartridges were greased by cow and pig fat. Both Hindus and Muslim sepoys refused to touch these cartridges for fear of losing their caste and their faith. It was the immediate cause of the Great Revolt. On 29th March, Mangal Pandey, a sepoy, rose in revolt at the Barakpur cantonment. He killed few British army officers, and he was hanged to death. He is considered the first martyr of the revolt. Then on 9th May, 85 soldiers in Meerut refused to use the new rifles and were sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. The Meerut army camp rose in the first decisive revolt on 10th May 1857 for their comrades. They stormed the jail and freed their comrades, shot their European officers, set their bungalows on fire and cut the telegraph line to Delhi. The main centers of the Great Revolt were Delhi, Lucknow, Kanpur, Jhansi, Bareilly and Ara in Bihar. The rebels proclaimed the dethroned Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader, but he was the leader only in name. Any revolt with such an aging and weak leader was bound to weaken. Bahadur Shah Zafar was taken prisoner and exiled to Rangoon. The royal princes were shot down and their bodies displayed on the streets. The once great dynasty of the Mughals finally came to an end. Now let's talk about some of the great leaders of the revolt of 1857. Nana Sahib led the movement at Kanpur with his general Tatia Topi. Then Hazrat Mahal, the Begum of Awadh, put her minor son Bir Jis Qadir on the throne and led the revolt for him. At Jhansi, the young widowed queen Rani Lakshmi Bai took up arms against the British. Unfortunately, they all were defeated by the British soldiers, and by July 1858, 14 months after the outbreak at Meerut, peace was finally declared by the British. The revolt had been crushed and the British Empire had survived. Now come to the results of the revolt. The Great Revolt of 1857 is a landmark event in the history of India. The revolt brought about many far-reaching changes in the politics and administration of India. It ended the company's rule in India, and the British government or Queen Victoria assumed direct responsibility of running the country. Queen Victoria issued a proclamation promising to look after the welfare of Indian people. By the declaration of 1st November 1858, Queen Victoria announced new administrative norms and ideals and assured Indians of fair governance. This declaration said the government would not interfere in religious or social affairs of Indians. All capable and worthy Indians would find employment in government posts. The doctrine of lapse was abolished. Native royals were allowed to adopt hires. The army was reorganized and strengthened. So in this way, the proclamation of Queen Victoria was an attempt to pacify the feelings and sentiments of the Indian people and to convince them that their interests were now safe under the rule of the British Crown. Now come to our last point, nature of the revolt. According to British historians, the revolt was nothing more than a military uprising. But modern Indian historians have rejected the European point of view. According to them, the revolt was not restricted to sepoys only. The common people in many places, especially in Awadh, Rohilkhand and Bihar, spontaneously joined the uprising. The struggle created a strong bonding and a sense of unity between the Hindus and the Muslims. Hence, it is inappropriate to give the designation mutiny to the event of 1857. It was the first large-scale popular uprising against the foreign rule. It was the first large-scale expression of a desire for freedom from foreign rule. Thus, it would be more appropriate to describe the revolt as India's first step towards freedom.